So I guess we'll kick off. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I had a few challenges with Wi-Fi, which is to be expected, and I'm in the office. I'm not even at home today. So first of all, let me just start by saying I'm hugely excited to be here today and to welcome Denise to the virtual stage. Denise is a hugely experienced marketeer, and we are, I'm sure, going to have a wonderful conversation between us. We encourage everyone who's joining us to please be part of the conversation. The chat is open and we'll be taking questions throughout the session. So the core themes that we're going to cover off in our conversation are around innovation, sustainability, and commerce. And we've seen tremendous growth and change over the last 18 months across these three areas. And in our discussion, we'll examine the impact that those three areas have had on the Lycra company. But first of all, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you all to Denise. As I said, Denise is a hugely experienced marketeer and is doing some wonderful things at the Lycra company. She's charged with increasing the value of the Lycra company's portfolio of iconic brands, including the Lycra, Coolmax, and Thermalite, brands that I'm sure we're all very familiar with, and I, for one, am a huge fan. Denise leads the global brand marketing communication capabilities across retail merchandising, new product commercialization, sustainability, public relations, e-commerce, creative, and social media. And not only that, but Denise also is responsible for driving digital transformation, including the launch of new websites and innovation digital tools. A huge remit and a huge amount of responsibility. Denise has worked at DuPont, Invista, and the Lycra company in various roles, from sales and marketing to branding and communications. She was responsible for licensing the Lycra brand into other categories, including the beauty industry, nonetheless. Denise has a huge global footprint in her experience. She has worked in different company offices, including the US, Switzerland, and Brazil, and is currently based in Barcelona in Spain. As you can imagine, to have a role like this with this level of experience, Denise has a master's degree in business administration from the University of Michigan, and also a bachelor's degree in business management from the Sao Paulo School of Business Administration, and also is hugely technically experienced and has several certificates across textiles, fashion, and also marketing. So Denise, let me just now say welcome. I'm really happy to be here with you today, and I'm going to kick off by just asking you to tell us a little bit about the Lycra company and the huge role that you have and the portfolio of brands that you lead.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm very happy with this warm welcome, quite extensive on the curriculum. It's like, it looked like, you know, like really like a short time frame on this career, because I just have the passion and love for what I do. And I just want to take the opportunity to actually thank the brand innovators, the organizers, the audience that are sitting here. And really, this is a special moment for me, because it's not that we are sharing this virtual space, but we are sharing this common love and interest for branding and marketing. So I hope that under this 30 minutes, we will be sharing an interesting story about the Lycra company, its insights, and the Lycra brand. So just to respond to you, let me start with the tangibles, okay? The Lycra company is the maker of the Lycra fiber and is the owners of the Lycra, the Coolmax, and Thermalite brands. We basically produce and commercialize these fibers under the brands that I just mentioned for the apparel and the personal care industries. And but the way we position ourselves is being more than a fiber, and the more really talks about, you know, the intangible. Basically, our role is to make the invisible visible. So I will pause here because I guess for many of you on the audience, you may have thought about Lycra, have thought that this is a brand, but not necessarily linking that it is a fiber. And so I really wanted you to know and to introduce you to, this is a spool of Lycra fiber. And you know, you cannot see here, maybe, let's see if you get closer to the video, but that is the fiber that stretches, and the secret is the recovery power. That is really the secret that makes, you know, no bag and sag, that makes feet to stays, that sculpts and shapes and so on. So I wanted to introduce it because, you know, you are in the UK and you and consumers may think it's biking shorts, others may think it's like a surfwear suit, others hosiery. So I really want to introduce, you know, what Lycra fiber is, and basically leave you with the with a quote of a designer, famous designer we have collaborated, that's Zach Posden, and you know, he quotes that life without Lycra would be very rigid. So, you know, that's really the intangible part of the being a brand. You know, it's like the values and all that the brand can be, and all the stories that you can tell about the brand. So, yeah. So I hope I have responded you.
I think just showing us the fiber in real life was really brilliant, and I think most of us can identify with Lycra, Denise. Certainly coming out of 18 months sitting at home, I'm sure you'll come on to talk a little bit about how you've noticed people's behavior change over the last couple of months and how that's hopefully benefiting the brand. But I love how you talk about the brand as an invisible ingredient, a secret ingredient. And the Lycra company is an ingredient brand with a largely B2B audience. However, you have become a household name, as I've just mentioned, and all of us are very familiar with Lycra. So what's the success? How have you been able to achieve that?
Well, for me, if I look, that's a decision that the leaders have taken many years ago. The Lycra brand, the Lycra fiber was invented, and it has like 63 years. And it is considered a modern fiber, if you think a contemporary modern fiber. And the reason for that is because during the 62 years, it kept consistently investing in innovation, into new marketing approaches, services and solutions. And because we have this business model where we develop every step of in this case, apparel value chain, right? Through the use of ingredient brand, this allowed us to have and develop like longer-term value creation, the consistency, the work, the year after year, and this approach on bringing relevant value propositions, was mentioned to Nicola early on, to both trade and consumers. I mean, if you are not bringing value and if you are not being relevant, then you know you are not creating value and fidelizing your customers. No, so today I do think that we have a very different market position because we were able to invest every year and continue with this push and pull and this ingredient business model. I mean, we are very far from being considered a commodity company. We have, as a brand, like 90% awareness globally. In the UK, 99%, in Brazil, 99%. We have more than 1 billion garments that are identified with the Lycra brand. And that's incredible, really. Like, it's a real, I think, case study of ingredient brand that has, has brought relevant innovations to consumers and kept updated with, consumers, media, the way they communicate, the way we interface. But we are going to speak about this, I think, later on in terms of customer journeys.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the point that you make around innovation and how you have helped I think you call them, Denise, your host brands actually also innovate is super interesting. And some of the conversations that we're having with quite a range of clients at the moment as we emerge out of the pandemic, I see two different behaviors. One is there are brands out there who are in a self-preserve mode, where they're really just trying to protect market share with product portfolios that they currently have and probably had going into the pandemic. And then there are brands like the Lycra company who are really innovating their way out of the pandemic and really taking advantage in some of the most fundamental changes that we've seen in the history of most of our marketing careers, and how you were taking product innovation, service innovation, innovation and touch points, relationships, partnerships, and really starting to drive the future of the business forward. So I guess the key question that I'm sure we'd all love to hear from you about, Denise, is how is innovation driving the future of the Lycra company across all of your markets? And how are you capitalizing on some of these new behaviors that we see emerging?
Well, innovation is part of our core. That's part of our core strategy. Is we have about minimum 2 to 3 different innovations launched and announced in a given year. And this is because we are present in different regions with different consumers and cultures, and also different garment categories. So we are on tops and bottoms and really and really like the whole pandemic, to bring it to your point, was a big disruption for everybody. A big disruption for consumers, for the business, and it was a big wake-up call. And you know, the trends of casualization, versatility, easy care, inclusivity were already there, but the pandemic just accelerated together with sustainability. So with the pandemic, because we were already working and we haven't launched these innovations, we were really fast to respond to the market. So innovation and the ability to have, media that cuts across, and communication channels and collaborations along the value chain until the very end consumers, really allowed us to be on a pole position on a situation like a disruption, like the pandemic. Just to give an example, before the pandemic, we developed a new patent pending technology, which I'm going to promote here. It's called Lycra Adaptive Fiber. And basically this whole story that I told you about the Lycra being, the secret being the recovery power, is that this polymer, really the secret is the polymer that brings this, the way it attracts back is really adaptive. So it fits, one size fits you more, not all, but more, right? And basically it's like an instantaneous snapback. So when you are at rest, the fiber accommodates. When you are in a movement, it goes with you. It's like a second skin. And, there's, well, we have the patent, we're waiting for the patent to be granted, but there's no other company that has a solution like that, a solution for shapewear, a solution for denims, a solution for knits, for fitness. And I know you are a big sports person, right? I mean, so the whole athleisure happened, the home office happened, and we were there already. And now that people are coming back on the hybrid mode and, coming back to the offices, I mean, we have seen like a surge growth on the denim categories, because denim with comfort. People want to have comfort, right? They don't want to give away for things that they have conquered. So, yeah.
But I actually, from a consumer behavior perspective, and looking at, how my own life has changed over the last few months, I think we all found ourselves at the work desk at home for a few hours, get up, walk the dog, come back, sit down for another few hours, get up, do something else. And I think we're not going to wear one thing for a few hours, get changed to walk the dog, then come back and get changed again. Then, and I just think the whole concept of the agility, the adaptivity that you talked about in this new fiber just reflects modern day lives. I think, as we look to relearn going back into the office and working from home some days a week, I think that's exactly, and we can see it in fashion. You know, we can see how fashion is changing and people are not coming to work dressed in business suits anymore. So I think you've hit the nail on the head. The other area that's so closely related to innovation, and again, you know, we're seeing so much of this come from the Lycra company, is the whole concern that we have as consumers around sustainability. And, you know, it's a practice that so many of us are now bringing into our marketing activities. And one very good reason for doing that is, you know, some recent research that we've studied across Europe shows that as we emerge from the pandemic, yes, we're worried about the virus, but actually people are more worried now about climate change, more worried about plastics, more worried about the environment, and sustainability is now one of the, you know, next biggest paradigms that we need to worry about. In fact, in a piece of research from Whelan Partners, they talked about the value shift globally is around 69% in the wake of the pandemic. And when we look at the Lycra company and some of the most amazing work that you're doing with recent campaigns that you've launched around circularity, I think it shows an organization, one, you're reflecting modern lifestyles in your adaptive fiber technology, but two, in launching campaigns like this, it's really showing people that you have a purpose really at the heart of everything that you're doing. So Denise, tell us please about circularity, how it works, how people are reacting to it, and I think importantly, how it's becoming an important part of your retail partners' ecosystems also.
So, well, I really wanted to share with all the audience that this whole theme about sustainability actually is you know, is going to be very, very close now, about 10 years. About 10 years, so we started it's not like a recent thing, as a recent theme that was launched as a program, really like under a program, a sustainability program, 10 years ago with internal name of Planet Agenda. And basically Planet Agenda comes with 3 pillars, one on manufacturing excellence, the other one on product innovation, and the third one on social environment. I mean, just telling this story just to say that we are very serious about our value proposition, and so we are not, you know, going to, you know, the latest trends. No, we, you know, this whole mentality, internalization about sustainability happened like a decade ago, and we take pride of our ESG credentials. So to respond to you, and this past June, we are really proud to share with all of you that we launched a campaign, and the campaign is really like keeping the loop with the Lycra company, and it's basically an invitation for customers and experts in the areas of sustainability that wants or uses sustainable materials that can be recycled at the end of life, and therefore reducing textile waste, to come and join us, because with that, on collaboration, we can actually close the loop. If you think that you know, we are a raw material provider on the tangible, right? For us to work on these value dimensions, we needed to join forces. It's a collective effort. So that's the reason why, you know, we launched this campaign, Keeping the Loop. We have like created a forum where we bring experts on the field to explore topics about circularity, you know, to invite partners to come and have that discussion with us. So, you know, we sum the sum of the parts, you know, raw materials, you know, fabric making, garment making that extends the life of a garment, and, you know, and on a circular economy, right? So I would just say that we are doing our part. We are conscious that we are one part of the solution, but, you know, the overall solution, you know, resides on really the collaboration. And so just to kind of illustrate on the product innovation, we have today offerings under the Comex Thermolite and the Lycra brands under the sustainability franchise we call EcoMade, right? That are using textile waste or PET bottles to make, to provide to mills to make fabrics and therefore garments. We also have fantastic technologies that extend the life of a garment. If we think that the second-hand market will double in 5 years, and that will represent a $77 billion of a business, So that's the reason why we collaborate and talking about the host brand, with the Levi's, with Patagonia, with VMLY&R, with REI. And, I was very happy to be sitting here and listening to VMLY&R Collective, because I am a customer of this VMLY&R Collective, and I was very happy to have them here in the forum, because they do have the sustainability mindset on their e-commerce. So, well, I hope I have shared the highlights of the sustainability program at the Lycra company.
Absolutely, and I think the point that really has jumped out for me is not only are you innovating at a product level, but you're also innovating at a life cycle level, where you're really trying to make sure that your products are long lasting. And as you move into that, second place market, that people can still buy Lycra with confidence, knowing that even if it is a second-hand as opposed to first-hand product, it's still going to have that same level of performance, which I think is incredible. And I guess just to switch into the space of commerce, as we look to our 2022 plans. I'm sure most of us this afternoon are in the midst of 2022 planning, and we look out at, for growth opportunities. Most of us as brands and retailers really need to keep people in our ecosystem. And by doing that, we need to demonstrate to people that we understand their behaviors, we understand the channels that they engage with us on, we understand the touch points, we understand the moments. And those are changing. As marketeers, I think we're often challenged to really understand those customer journeys and how and where and when do we engage people on their terms in a way that is relevant to what their needs are. So as you look to launch all of these new products, Denise, and you move into the circular economy, what are the new channels or the new touch points that the Lycra company is working on now to make sure that you stay engaged and you stay relevant with your consumers?
So I have to disclose exciting news before actually the formal communication. So I'm doing this right now at this moment, November 2nd. So Tuesday next week, we are officially launching with campaign Lycra One. And Lycra One stands for the Online Network Exchange. It's a gated portal. Really, it's a gated portal where we invite our customers to come and see, and it's a one-stop shop online virtual portal where everything that today is available on a day-to-day operations via your account manager, via our dealings on the day-to-day is going to be there with digital services. So it's basically is the portal where you can find our latest. One can find our latest innovations, knowledge center, certification services, request for the Lycra or the Comex Thermolite hang tags, the use of our trademarks, so trademark licensing agreements. And I think that this is a service that we have been always supporting the trade with. But now we are going even further, because what we are doing is to launch like a sourcing services. So brands and retailers will be able to go there and look into the fabric library, look into the innovations that we have collaborated with our mill partners that develops fabrics. And so, this is unique. There is no fiber company that can provide this space, this center of excellence, I would say, And so we are announcing this on 2nd of November. But I want to go further because this is only the first phase. Because once we have like fabrics that contains our products, then that we have garment makers and brands and retailers requesting for the hand tags. What I'm really excited is to have the consumer facing side of it. So how we will promote, that to, the different parts of the world, the push and pull model of Lycra from, upstream to consumers and from consumers to upstream and get that virtual circle, the loop, right? The loop into being relevant in the agendas of our key partners.
It's such an incredible proof point, I think, really, to the whole story of the Lycra company. The fact that you are now, to get to that virtuous circle, connecting mills with manufacturers and closing that loop, is highly credible. And I think, to allow that story to be published, if you will, to consumers so that they can actually see the legitimacy of everything that you're creating is unique. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know any other textile company who is doing anything like this, and that level of co-creation and that level of partnership that's happening is really, really, really compelling. We've talked, Denise, about innovation, we've talked about sustainability, we've talked about purpose, we've talked a little bit about personalization. As you look ahead, into a crystal ball, and you look at growth for the Lycra company over the next couple of years, which of those dimensions do you think are really going to drive the business forward?
Well, I think I've mentioned that innovation is part of our core strategy and core business. So, and then we touch based on two of the really like personal mandate. Our CEO drives it to the heart of his core, which is basically the flagships of digital transformation and sustainability. There's one other pillar that I mentioned, but I will make it official, right? It's like, which is collaboration. So we are looking to different connectors of the value chain and companies that shares of our values, and really join the competencies to really bring like relevant consumers and to trade value propositions. In our view, we are only going to be successful if we make our partners successful. And a way to bring more success and to speed and fast track that is really on knowing to who you partner with, and and work in collaboration. So these are the four pillars of our growth strategy going forward.
And they are, I think, the growth pillars that most people would say are the crucial ones and critical ones for many brands, I think, going forward. I think the difference, Denise, is you actually have very, very tangible and very clear programs and offers and services that now sit behind each one of those. And I guess the final theme to cover off in our conversation, and I invite anyone who does have a question to get ready as we open up the Q&A, is just around personalization. And, we all talk about personalization today, don't we? We talk about the role of data. We talk about many things that are, relevant to our consumers. And I guess your competitive edge in driving adoption and conversion is slightly different in that you are working in partnership with other brands. You are the ingredient, they are the host brands. Although listening to you today, I think the Lycra company is probably driving some of those relationships. But how are you helping address the trend of personalization and the need for personalization in the whole fashion and apparel space?
Well, I think in some ways we share with your your company, some of the ways and ways about going on personalization, in the sense that we use the data, we use consumer insights, right? And with that, with those of consumer insights and data, we work out our science to deliver like these compelling innovations. And so, and because we, as I said, we are global and we are local, I would say, the way we personalize is really having this collaborative approach with brands and retailers. Each brand and retailers, what we call the hosting brand, will have their different stories, their different agendas. That doesn't mean that we cannot upgrade their stories or that we can bring the stories to them. But in the end of the day, the way that consumer will receive that story is really like a collaboration that I always want to illustrate that in the case of doing business with the Lycra company, it's not a 1 + 1 = 2. It could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5, and that talks about the whole intangibles of creating value, right? And so that's the way I think we can end up with different consumers and customer journeys, different storytelling, because we are talking about different garment categories, different performance attributes, different technologies. Do you want shaping? Do you want sculpting? Do you want a soft comfort? Do you want to have comfort on away from the body garment, or do you want to have like the performance of a compression to be to run? And so I think that's really like the beauty and the challenge of being an ingredient brand working with a host brand. But I think that the challenge is what makes it very exciting. I think we discussed this, Michelle, that I see Lycra as really like the engine that makes a garments be live, that makes you be live, you have your freedom of movement, you having your empowerment, and that's why I'm so passionate about this brand. But I'm suspicious.
No, I share your passion, Denise. So does we do have 2 questions. Actually, there's 3. 2 from Heidi and 1 from Janine, and I think Heidi also shares your passion. So Heidi would like to know, what are some of your favorites at the Lycra company? And secondly, you talked about collaboration, and what are the collaborations that you're most proud of?
Sorry, Heidi asked one of my favorites at the Lycra.
What are some of your favorites at the Lycra company? So of the innovations that you've
my favorites
brought to market. Your favorites, yeah.
She knows it's Lycra eco-made, and she knows that because we collaborate together on driving the importance of this fiber. But one of my favorites is really a technology called Lycra fusion fiber. That's really for hosiery, which prevents lathering to happen. That's really like, it's not you don't have a run on the rolls, on the hosiery, and that's really like for me it's incredible innovation. Like adaptive fiber we spoke about, and I think this is exciting because it will change the way consumers experience a garment. It's going to provide a total new wearing experience, and I think the men will love this. Will love this because they will, men likes to be comfortable, and they will want to have, and they will specify, I want a garment with Lycra adaptive fiber. And the other ones that I love together with Lycra Sports, because like you, I share of sports. I'm addicted to running, so it's Lycra Sports and Lycra Extra Light Fiber. Lycra Extra Light Fiber in a swimsuit or a bikini, it gives you like 10 times longer, you know, the durability attribute of a garment that would not contain that fiber, because it's chlorine resistant, is resistant to sun tanning, lotions and things like that. So it's really beautiful. I mean, consumers will not understand how good the Lycra fiber is.
I couldn't agree more. I think, you know, in this conversation and prepping for this conversation, you know, I am already a consumer of the Lycra company, but I had no idea of the level of innovation that's happening in this space, in this category. And I think that in itself, that's almost a challenge. It's like, how do you educate everyone? You know, how do you help people understand that there is so much innovation in this space? And I think, you know, when you talk about how you've seen such growth in men buying into Lycra and into the category, I think just shows the extent of consumer behavior that is out there. There is also one question which I think is a really interesting one for you, and that is about your hang tags. So clearly the hang tag is a very valuable asset because it's the quality mark, it's the assurance that, you know, people are buying into quality Lycra. And this question is around, how do you take that further? So it could be perceived as a tactic, although I actually think it's quite strategic because it's a quality mark, but how do you take something like the hand tag? And it's almost like the intel inside, isn't it? How do you turn that into a really valuable asset, which it already is to a degree?
Yes, in the end of the day, we are a brand into a garment when, you know, consumers can see the hang tag and can read the copy points and what that garment is doing for you. That's how they know that a garment will last 10 times more than a non-treated garment, etc. But the way we are going forward is really to keep, you know, all the good things that we have in terms of the physical hang tag, and continue doing so, because there are brands and retailers that, you know, use hang tags, but there are others that just place the logo on a packaging, and we have, as I said, billions of garments with the logo imprinted, with the claims and copy points on, you know, why Lycra fiber is there and for what the Lycra fiber is doing there in that garment. But what we are doing and working hand in hand with our brands and retailers is on what we are calling internally virtual hang tags. So basically digital devices that can, you know, again, can be personalized to the host brand to explain, you know, what that garment is doing and what is different, what is the difference that garment is doing for that specific consumer, and what is the value that and benefits that are bringing to that consumer. So yeah, so basically digital assets that we are putting for brands and retailers, or collaborating with brands and retailers to best communicate it to their customers.
That's great, and it's the obvious extension, isn't it, is to digitize that and actually have the whole, you know, what you've just talked about with Lycra One and the storytelling that has happening on the website. You could almost bring that into the space of the hand tag, so that each and every piece is almost individualized, you know, so that the story of the fiber really comes to life. And if we have time, I don't know if we still have time, but there is another question around sustainability, and just expanding on some of the products that you've launched that are, you know, part of the sustainability drive, circular economy. What has the uptake on these fibers been like? Are you seeing, you know, real preference by consumers as they're choosing more of the sustainable fibers that last longer and that can then be upcycled and recycled?
I would say yes. We have, you know, commercial programs with big retailers. You can look and see, such as H&M, CNA. They are huge retailers and distribute a lot of garments here in Europe and globally. And so to the point that all of them have like sustainable programs in commerce with us since before the pandemic. It just shows to me that consumers are willing to pay and want to have products that meet sustainability criteria. But I'll just say that we have been actually very successful on these partnerships with brands and retailers, exactly because they are looking for it's not only the product, they are looking for who is the supplier of that product. So they are looking to, it's not only because of the brand, it's because behind the brand, there is the Lycra company, and there is consistency, there is quality, there is integrity. And this adds to the whole value dimension of a brand, I think.
Completely. And I think, you know, particularly as we see people's need for confidence in more sustainable solutions, everything that you've talked about this afternoon in terms of the investment behind all of these products, the innovation, the technology, is reassurance for people that it's all being done in the right, all being done in the right way, which I think is hugely important. And I also think that leads to people then being reassured in the quality that they buy, you know, that it has all of the benefits that you want from a piece of clothing, but it's not just the tangible product benefits, it's all the emotional benefits that go with it. And I think that it's so empowering, I think, what you're doing, Denise, for, you know, so many people who may not have been, you don't have to be sporty to wear Lycra. I think just the empowerment that it gives you just to live an everyday great life is fantastic. I guess just one last call out for any questions if anyone has. Otherwise, I would just like to say a huge thank you, Denise. I've loved getting to know you and learning more about the Lycra company. I thoroughly love the innovation that you're bringing to the marketplace. Long may it last, and I wish you every success. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Hope you have learned something or taken something away from it. And let's all buy into the Lycra company.
Thank you, Michelle. You made my words and my day. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank you very much.